The views and opinions expressed by the participants on this show are not necessarily those of Stewart Information Services Corporation, Stewart Title, or Stewart Insurance. Before you make any investment, you should seek the advice of your investment advisor or attorney.
Whether you're a real estate broker, realtor, homeowner, buyer, or seller, everything matters when it comes to real estate. This is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Stewart Title's Bill Knapik and guests open the door to what really matters in owning, buying, and selling real estate. And now, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, brought to you by Stewart Insurance. Here to inform, entertain, and inspire, Bill Knapik.
Welcome to the show, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I am your host, Bill Knapik, and thank you for joining us. If you are a regular listener, welcome back. And if this is your first time to hear the show, thank you for checking us out. This is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, and the show begins right now. From time to time on Real Estate Matters, we go beyond Houston to find out what's going on in other markets. And today's little adventure, we're going to go to Hot Springs, Arkansas, and talk to Kelly O'Dwyer. She is with Coldwell Bankers, the RPM group right there in beautiful Hot Springs, Arkansas. Hey, Kelly, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. What a pleasure. Hello, Houston.
That's right. And we're just the fourth largest city. But one of the things that strikes me as I think about real estate outside of Houston, a lot of Houstonians have properties in Florida. They go east. A lot of them go to Colorado. But I want to say in my research, and you know I've talked with you and we've been on the internet together looking at properties in Hot Springs. I think that Hot Springs is a hidden gem. So first of all, let's tell people about your company, Kelly, and then we'll talk about Hot Springs and some of the opportunities there for people.
Well, many of you may be familiar with Coldwell Banker. We are an affiliate, Coldwell Banker RPM Group, located in Hot Springs and in the Central Arkansas region. We serve all of the areas of Central Arkansas, including Hot Springs Village, Little Rock, and beyond.
Beautiful areas they are. And one of the things that comes to mind for me is that you have a blend, first of all, from Houston. Certainly you can fly to Little Rock, but from Houston you could also drive. You don't have to get on an airplane to have a whole different climate. It's beautiful. You have mountains, you have lakes, you have vacation homes, you have homes that people live in, and even times where people retire there.
And that's really the ticket. Here in Hot Springs, we say we literally have something for everyone. And lots of times you'll hear that cliche and it's not true. And here it is. Whether it's water sports, taking a boat ride in the evening, a sunset cruise, having a cocktail on a mountain ridge, overlooking beautiful downtown national park that is in Hot Springs. Hot Springs is known for its naturally heated springs in a very rich and saucy history, peppered with gambling and gangsters and even Major League Baseball spring training. That's something that is a little known fact, but can be very interesting to baseball enthusiasts. And we've got a national park here that includes bathhouses dating back to the 19th and 20th centuries. You can also enjoy boating on one of the 4 lakes, horse racing at a premier facility, Oaklawn, one of the nation's most exciting and developed racetracks, or mountain biking in the arts. So there really is something for everyone.
Covering so much. In fact, as you mentioned, the horse racing, I'm told that your horse racing park is one of the finest. So you have that, as you say, you have the history, all kinds of interesting things, and that brings a lot of tourism there.
It sure does. And many of the tourists come to visit and wind up staying. Whether they purchase a second home here or make this a retirement destination or even move the family, there are a lot of opportunities for real estate in our area.
And that's why you are one of the top realtors right there in Hot Springs, Arkansas. And I want to mention, too, when we think about Hot Springs, when I first started researching, I knew about Hot Springs and then talked with you, but yet there's another little place not far called Hot Springs Village. Let's tell people the difference there. And one thing I want to interject as well, when we talk about mountains, lakes, and things like that, I lost count of all the lakes that you have between Hot Springs and Hot Springs Village. There's a lot of water around there.
It is very easy to do. In Hot Springs, we have a network of 4 lakes, one of which is the largest lake in Arkansas. In Hot Springs Village, as you mentioned, a short drive from Hot Springs, you will find the United States' largest gated community, Hot Springs Village. Hot Springs Village is a stunning gated community. It spans over 26,000 acres of the Ouachita Mountain Range. It is beautiful from, gorgeous ridge lines to valleys, waterfront homes. There are actually 11 recreational lakes inside the gates of the village, 9 golf courses, many of which are full 18-hole courses, some of which are award-winning courses. And there are also clubs and organizations for just about anything you can think of, from Jeep riding to Corvettes to quilting or card playing, poker. I mean, you name it, they've got it.
That's right. They'll have a club for it there in Hot Springs Village, I'm told. The interesting thing about Hot Springs, but also Hot Springs Village, as I've talked to people within Stewart Title, actually, where I've just mentioned Hot Springs, they say, oh, well, my in-laws or my so-and-so, my friend lives in Hot Springs Village, and then it's soon followed up by, oh, they love it. So I think it's fascinating. Something special is going on in your area, no doubt. Give people an idea. Right here, Kelly, as I've mentioned to you, Houston, the real estate market is unbelievable. Low interest rates. People are buying properties all over Houston, but especially the suburbs and as we expand all around the city. What's the market like right now in your area in Hot Springs?
Well, let's break that into 2 parts and look at Hot Springs and Hot Springs Village, both of which are growing markets. And as an agent here, a few months ago, when the pandemic first began, we all wondered, what is this market going to look like this year and next? And what we've seen is an even stronger demand for real estate in our area, largely due to all of the outdoor activities and opportunities that we are able to offer here. I mean, we are so blessed during this time to be out and about, whether it's taking a boat ride or sitting outside at a fire pit or taking a walk on a trail where you might just pass 1 or 2 people. I mean, we're enjoying the beauty of Arkansas and can't put a price on that. But if you had to, I would tell you, the condo market in Hot Springs, you can typically get into an entry-level waterfront, maybe peekaboo lake condo for around the 140s, maybe a little less when we've got more inventory. Waterfront homes on the lakes in Hot Springs, Lake Hamilton, for instance, that's a very social lake. Shorelines are lined with beautiful homes ranging from lake cottages to multi-million-dollar estate properties. Price per square foot there is really going to vary, probably starting around $160 per square foot and, going up to the high 200s per square foot, depending on the lot, water frontage feet, accessibility to the lake, etc. In Hot Springs Village, it is a very popular choice because you can get so much property for your money. The average price per square foot in Hot Springs Village, and this is waterfront and inland combined, is less than $100 per square foot. You add taxes into that, and taxes in both Hot Springs and the Village are exponentially lower than what you're currently paying in Texas. And so this makes our area very desirable for Texas buyers.
In fact, it's really a lot lower because it really is. And that's one of the benefits, I think, certainly if that were your primary home, but as a vacation home or a second home or whatever you want to do, third home possibly, those taxes come into play in a major way. Go back to pricing just for a second. Let's say in Hot Springs Village, someone said, I have $600,000 in my budget. Can I be on the water for $600,000 and have maybe not a giant home, but a nice home?
You sure can. You can absolutely have a waterfront home in Hot Springs Village with a boat dock, a beautiful view, a nice home for under $500,000, and in some cases, substantially less. You can also have a lovely waterfront home on Lake Hamilton in Hot Springs for under $600,000. Might be a little smaller, but would be gorgeous nonetheless and very centrally located. So there are options at a very wide variety of price points. And Bill, one other thing that we're seeing in our market, a great and evolving trend, is that of the nightly rental market. We're especially seeing this among Texans. So they will purchase in Hot Springs and choose to generate some of that nightly rental income while they're busy back home working, and then we'll block off dates to come here, stay in the property, enjoy with friends and family, go back home, and then once their lifestyle changes or work circumstance changes, they're coming here and removing it from the nightly rental circuit and staying full time.
And of course, once again, if they're in Houston, they could make the drive or they could fly to Little Rock. What about Dallas? I just started thinking, Kelly, about Dallas. Are you seeing people from Dallas enter your market?
We sure are. And we've actually got a regional airline here in Hot Springs that offers a flight from Hot Springs to Dallas. It is, it doesn't get much lower cost. It's under $100 each way.
Wow.
So, many will use that if they just want to zip over.
And once again, it's almost hard to believe. I think you said for $500,000, I could get some kind of nice home, maybe smaller, in Hot Springs Village on the water. And I think you said it even has a boat dock, possibly. Is that right?
Yes, we are all about the boat docks in Hot Springs and Hot Springs Village. You will not believe how many friends you have when you get a pontoon boat.
And a boat dock and a house on the lake, yeah.
Oh, all the things.
That is incredible. We're talking with Kelly O'Dwyer. She is with Coldwell Bankers RPM Group in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Kelly, before we close the segment, let's tell people what else you'd like them to know.
We are here to help. I am a part of a mother-daughter duo in Hot Springs. My partner's name is Joan O'Dwyer. We really make an effort to make shopping for real estate and answering your questions fun and easygoing and spirited. And we are here for you to help however we can, whether you're just sticking your toe in the water and interested in learning more about our city and what we have to offer, or you've been thinking about this for some time and are a serious buyer. We would love to help you at any stage.
And in fact, you have been helping me in a tremendous way learn about the market and maybe even making an investment right there. The other thing that you do, I think there's a certain art, and it works both ways. Here in Houston, we deal with people that are outside of Houston, sometimes out of the country, that are looking at real estate. But one of the things you were doing with me on some things, you actually did some FaceTime videos where we looked at a property and you did the FaceTime. So that's the second best thing to me being there, even though I was many miles away, right?
Oh, absolutely. And, nothing replaces a face-to-face, in-person property tour, but we do everything in our power to make sure that you are aware of the latest inventory. You can get eyes on it. It's so important in this market where the demand is so high that you and anyone from out of state or who's busy in the office that day and can't break away or has a prior engagement is able to get their eyes on a new listing so that they can make sure and put that offer in if it's the one.
That's right. Helping people in a tremendous way. Kelly, how can people reach out to you?
Please visit our website at Joan, Joan, and A-N-D, Kelly.com, or shoot me an email. That is Kelly, Kelly, at joanandkelly.com.
Easy to remember, joanandkelly.com. And the phone number, Kelly, is
501-282-1804. That's 501-282-1804. And don't hesitate to call or text, whichever you prefer.
And I might add one other thing, and that is Houston. It's very, very hot and humid. For those listening in Houston, in Hot Springs, Arkansas, it's a little bit cooler and a lot more manageable, in my opinion. Thank you, Kelly O'Dwyer, for being on the show.
What a pleasure. Thank you.
People love when Chris Kelso, that's right, Chris Kelso, the maestro of mortgage. He is with the Kelso Group, leads the Kelso Group, powered by APM. Chris, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Bill. I appreciate being on board today.
In the mortgage world, first of all, rates have never been so low. What's the deal, man? How long are they going to be this low, Chris?
It's pretty interesting. We were listening to, we have an internal economist that was talking about rates the other day. And one of the things he forecasted that rates right now are going to maintain this level probably for the next 6 to 9 months. And one of the big reasons why, if you look at where rates are today and you look at the economic factors that are driving forward rates, one of the big indicators, you hear things like CPI, Consumer Price Index, you hear things like inflation, you hear a whole bunch of different things like that. But the reality is that rates have always followed the inflationary measures of the Fed. And one of the things they look at that sort of 2% rule as being, once inflation hits above 2%, rates sort of are a adjusting factor to be able to offset inflation. Well, right now, where we have literally no inflation, the Fed is keeping rates extremely low. until such time as we sort of see a reactivation of the economy and more jobs coming back into the economy. And more jobs means obviously more buying power, which means, higher inflation, which means eventually rates will move back up. But at this point right now, we're looking at probably another 6 to 9 months worth of very aggressive interest rates. And when I say aggressive, I'm talking about rates in the 2s, in the low 3s. and I mean, we've never seen them this low.
2 is a nice number.
Yes.
and well, a couple of things. The other thing that happens as we look ahead, we know people are still moving to Texas in masses. Now, there's a lot of other real estate markets busy as well, but they're moving to Texas because of the economy, the business climate here. So they're coming here. Throw that in with low interest rates, no state income tax here in Texas. It's a lot of great things are going on. So for someone like you, positioned here, you and the team with several locations all around the Houston area, you're going to be busy for some time to come, is my prediction.
Well, we hope so, and I think you're absolutely right. I mean, we see a lot of individuals coming in from places like California and New York and New Jersey and Massachusetts, both the East Coast and the West Coast. And if you look at it, the top 20 largest cities in the United States, top 20, 1 being the most expensive, 20 being the least expensive, Houston ranks number 16, meaning that we, within the top 20 we're one of the most affordable cities within the top 20 largest cities in the United States. You add the fact that we've got jobs, we've got diversity, we've got great areas in which you can buy. I mean, you can buy in the suburbs, you can buy in the city, you can buy anywhere, land, more dense areas. I mean, it's amazing what you can get here. And then you add in a low interest rate on top of it. I mean, the builders cannot build enough new homes right now because of the demand associated with buying property in Houston and the surrounding area. So we're going to see this for the foreseeable future. And one of the things that was pretty interesting, some people think that, is the mortgage industry being fueled by only these refinances that are going on because of low rates? And I will tell you this, one of the things that is happening, yes, refinancing is going on right now. But the other thing that's going on is the purchase money side of the business, people buying new homes. So one thing the pandemic has actually showed a lot of individuals is, do I want to be stuck here? Do I want to work from this home? Or do I want to work for a different home? Or in a lot of cases, some individuals are saying, I no longer need to be located closer to my work because I'm going to go to a model in which I can work remotely more often. So we're seeing a lot of change from that perspective, which is driving forward a lot of the purchase transactions that we're seeing on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis.
Indeed. I also omitted when we started out, you are also part of the Real Estate Rat Pack. You and Rob Cook are doing tremendous work with your own radio show where people can go to realestateratpack.com to learn more, to hear you, to hear past episodes. Going back to veterans, I know as far as veterans, there are programs, and sometimes from the real estate standpoint, we hear that the veteran loans or the VA loans may not be seen as the most desirable. How does that work? Let's demystify that, if you would.
Well, I'm going to definitely demystify that because I teach a class, first and foremost, to all of our veterans that are listening to your show today, Bill. Thank you very much. We would not be doing this show if it wasn't for our men and women of our U.S. military. So thank you very much for serving, both past, present, and those that will be serving in the future,
Absolutely.
Number one. Number two is, I will tell you this, VA and the VA loans are the absolute best loans out there. They took away the ability to have a limited amount of financing for 100%. So in other words is, in 2020, if you have full eligibility, you can buy a $200,000 home or a $2 million property as long as you qualify with no money down. It's absolutely the best loan known to man out there. And if you have any interest rates in the high 3s or more as a veteran on a VA loan, there is no better product to refinance under than the VA IRRRL, which is also known as the Interest Rate Reduction Refinance Loan. The absolute best loan. It is phenomenal, and you can get right now rates in the low 2s, even high 2s in some cases on the 30-year fix. It's amazing what you can do from that perspective, and we don't talk about it enough. Our men and women serve every day. It's the least we can do, and one of the best things we can do is put them into home ownership at an aggressive interest rate with an affordable payment versus renting, and give them something that they can build over a period of time, equity into, and then ultimately be part of that American dream that we talk about, that they fight so much for us to be able for us to obtain as well.
There is no question. We appreciate each and every first responder and veterans, no doubt. Tell us again about the part of the no money down. Let's repeat that. Let's embellish that.
So if you're a veteran and you have a certificate of eligibility, and that is what says that you have full eligibility to buy a home under the VA purchase or refinance program, you have a certificate of eligibility, you can actually buy a home effective 2020 if you qualify and you have full eligibility with no money down, meaning you still have closing costs, which could be rolled into the loan. You still have prepaids, which are taxes and insurance, but a down payment. You would not have to put a down payment down on a VA loan if you have full eligibility. So let's go back. You have a $200,000 home. You require down payment? Zero. You have a $2 million home. You require down payment? If you qualify, zero. You have a $1 million home. You require down payment? If you qualify, zero. That's what I'm talking about. You can actually get into a home with no money down. So there's you don't have to worry about sitting around and waiting to sometimes having this money available for you to put down. And let me tell you something else. It used to be that when you had a VA loan limit, you could do what they call the VA jumbo loan, and then you have to put a certain percentage down. But imagine now you're a veteran, you're the CEO, CFO, CMO, you're somewhere within an operation that you can afford, and you're buying a multi-million-dollar home. Now, instead of having to put 20% down, you can get probably a better interest rate with no money down doing a VA loan. It is the absolute best thing I've ever seen.
Okay, quick word on reverse mortgages. There's also that needs a little bit of demystification as well.
That one does, and I'll tell you why. Reverse mortgage has been around for about 25 years. And I joke with everybody is that for the longest time, reverse mortgage was done wrong, and I blame Tom Selleck and William Shatner. And I joke with that, right? Because anytime you're selling a mortgage to a senior at 2 a.m. in the morning, you know something's wrong. So in 2017,
well, you know, Chris, they're regular listeners, by the way. I get fan mail all the time, but that's okay.
That's okay. That's not a problem right there. But one of the things that's really cool about a reverse mortgage is a reverse mortgage, number one, in Texas, you would have to be 62 years or older, and that includes, if you're married, the youngest of the two. So if you're married and your spouse is not 62, you have to wait until your spouse is 62. But in the state of Texas, it's the youngest of both of them if you're married, 62 years old, number one. Number two is it does require you to have equity. Now, on a reverse mortgage, you can both purchase a home under a reverse mortgage or you can refinance your home under a reverse mortgage. So either which way, but it requires equity. So I'll give you two examples that are really good. I have an individual who called me up the other day. He's in his 80s and said, Chris, I lived in a fixed income. I have a home that's paid free and clear. But, I really can't get along much longer without having additional income. And I need to get additional income. And I have a home that's paid free and clear. And so what we're doing, because of the value of his home, we're actually doing a reverse mortgage in which he is going to get a monthly stipend, unlimited monthly stipend until he passes away in the future, of an extra $1,156 that his equity in his home is going to pay him in this case. So he has his Social Security that he's receiving. Now he's going to be getting his reverse mortgage payment that he receives, and he will not have to worry about ever moving out of that home as long as he occupies it as his primary residency. And so that's one example.
Okay, now wait a
second.
second.
The other day I had a lady.
Hang on one second on that. On that example, how much is the value of the home?
So in his case right here, he has a home value, rough estimate about $450,000. So it's an amazing product. I will tell you this. It is the most misunderstood product. Financial advisors who we work with a lot with absolutely are proponents of a reverse mortgage because of what it can do to create a greater wealth and a better retirement income than any other aspect out there. I mean, let's face it, Bill. Here's the one thing that we were all taught to do, right? I was taught this way. You were taught this way. We're all taught this way. Get a home, get a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage, and pay it off.
That's right.
Pay
it off.
That's what we're all taught. And so it goes against all conventional wisdom when you turn 62 to say, okay, great, I want you to put a reverse mortgage on this home. But the reality is, if you look at the financial tool of what it is and how you can take that equity and leverage it to build more equity or more wealth for you, it's absolutely incredible. I think more people understanding is having a home paid off free and clear means that money is not working for you. And so what you're doing is you're taking that money that is not working for you and converting it to a mechanism in which it is, right?
Okay.
And so that's one of the coolest things about it. There's so many different ways. Here's the other thing. It's not a mortgage of last resort. It's not meant for individuals who are just struggling and need to stay in their home.
Okay.
We see it with a lot of individuals who are very wealthy, who want to take a reverse mortgage out to purchase a second home free and clear, because I saw this the other day. They bought a home in Galveston free and clear because they wanted to have something to do with their grandchildren. Okay, we see individuals purchasing property that they would not be able to purchase normally in cash. Now they can purchase it and still not maintain a monthly mortgage payment, because you can purchase it, you put the required down payment down, you would still have no monthly mortgage payment as long as you live, other than taxes and insurance, which are required, and HOA on a reverse mortgage. So it's a financial tool like what we've never seen. It's also the most misused and misguided information that you're going to see out there. And the reason why, again, is because for the longest time there was an excessive amount of fees, and there was not enough individuals who were truly sitting down with their clients like what we do and say, let's find out truly why you need a reverse mortgage and if it's beneficial for you, and are you going to use it for the right reasons. And that's what we do. That's why we're one of the number one reverse mortgage groups in Houston and in the surrounding area. And with Carrie and myself, we meet everybody face-to-face, person-to-person, to really go over it and explain everything to them.
Okay, Chris, we have about 30 seconds left. There's a lot of complexities and a lot of things to talk about. Each situation is different on the reverse mortgage, so they'll reach out and call you. But in the meantime, in 30 seconds, what else would you like people to know before we tell them how they can reach out to you?
I would say is, if you are renting, evaluate purchasing right now. If you have an interest rate in the 4s, evaluate refinancing down to the 2s. Never be afraid to engage in today's market. There's never been a better time with where rates are today to get involved, become a homeowner, and take advantage of the financial tool that's available to you, which is home ownership in the United States. And then what type of tool you take, whether it be a reverse mortgage, a VA loan, a conventional, a jumbo, there's tons of products, even for our first-time home buyers, down payment assistance, that we can take care of somebody with.
And Chris, how can people reach you?
You can always reach me at 713-256-9138. I'll say it again, 713-256-9138. You can also reach me via email at Chris, which is CHRIS, .Kelso, KELSO, at apmortgage.com. AP stands for American Pacific Mortgage.com.
And there you go. Once again, you never get to hear enough Chris Kelso. You can hear him every Saturday. Go to realestateratpack.com, find out more. Chris, thanks for being on the show.
Bill, it's always a pleasure. Thank you very much for having me on.
In today's litigious society, it is imperative to have the proper insurance to offset the many risks facing your business, especially if you're a real estate broker. Your errors and omissions and cyber liability insurance can help limit the threat of these risks if you know what to look for. Not sure if your insurance addresses the risks facing your business? Contact Stewart Insurance to be confident your brokerage can withstand these risks. Stewart Insurance, 866-798-2827. StewartInsurance.com. That's StewartInsurance.com, or call 866-798-2827.
Let's welcome to the show Andrew Estes. He is the CEO of the Estes Companies right here in Houston. Hey, Andrew, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, super awesome to have you. First of all, Andrew, the Estes Companies, let's tell people what your company does.
Estes Companies is a company that is run by myself. I have a property management company. We have a construction company, and we manage and develop apartment assets, notably older properties that we purchase, gut to stud, and then reposition in the market, looking to increase revenue and profitability for ourselves and our investors.
It sounds like a part of that, one of the components is finding then properties to improve along the way. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. We look for properties that have a very large value add component to them. That means that we're looking for properties that have usually had very little or no previous renovation work, so that we're able to, in the event like of full restoration, we're taking these units to stud, remodeling them, making them look brand new inside and outside, and then reposition them in the market.
And without any trade secrets, how are you finding, or what sort of methodology do you go forth to find these kind of properties? Because right now, boy, the Houston market is sizzling, certainly in residential homes. I don't know so much about commercial properties, but there's a lot of challenge. There's a lot of success out there and a lot of growth, but I think within that, there's a lot of challenges, even when we're talking about refurbishment. Building materials are hard to find. So how do you, what are some of the components that you use to do these things?
Well, finding the properties, like you mentioned, are very difficult. There are a lot of players in this multifamily market, so it takes a lot of looking ear to the ground, connections with brokers in the area, scouring for properties that come available. I've made some good connections in different markets that have referred deals that fit the portfolio back to us, but it is a difficult process to do. Good point about construction materials. One of the hardest things that we've seen post-COVID is the increase in lumber and lumber-related products. Lumber prices have increased almost 100% in the past 4 months, and so it's put a strain on our efforts to move forward with new construction product, which is kind of reinvigorated our interest in older product that require less lumber and quicker turnaround to create more profit for ourselves and our investors.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, just a few weeks ago, I was looking just for a couple fence slats for my fence, and the cover was bare over at my local store. I'm like, holy smokes, I just need a couple. So I can imagine large-scale projects. But also the other thing, as you're saying about the properties that you're looking at, it sounds like, as far as the area of town, we know location. How do you determine the areas of the given town? And I think you do some work in Beaumont as well, but how do you determine those areas, or what areas are you active in right now?
We're not specific to our particular area. We do have some properties in Beaumont, Baytown, in Houston. We really follow the deals that are going to make the most impact on the dollars that we spend on them. So, interestingly, a new construction project in some cases could make very little to no money, but those developers look for that income to appreciate and the value of the property as they own and manage the property over a few years. Us being a smaller developer with less capital resources and equity resources, we look for properties that are going to create income during the course of our ownership. So a lot of times those aren't the prettiest properties on the block, but they're the ones that are going to create income so that we can return that income to our investors.
And then as far as the managing of the properties, if there's someone listening out there, who would be a candidate for you to manage their properties? What kind of property would that be?
We would entertain all outside multifamily owners with products of over 100 doors or 100 apartment units. We have in-house property management that's led by myself and my wife, Rachel. And so any investor who owns apartment portfolio or apartment project that feels like they are not seeing the returns that their property is capable of, sometimes that means that property and the property management style needs to be reassessed to bring in the highest value for the rental dollars and making sure that you're returning the income to the property owner and its investors.
And in the management of any property, whether it's a person just renting out one home, their second home or something like that, but when you start talking about apartments with many doors, it seems to me, I'm thinking about all the components and the responsibility there and the things you have to take care of. That would have to take a certain skill for your company to do so, because it can be complex with a lot of things going wrong and a lot of repairs. How do you manage that?
That has become kind of just a well-defined science after experience and training. There's a lot of training courses that our people take and how to deal with property management and customers. But a little bit finesse is required. A lot of it has to do with keeping your tenants up to date with what's going on with the property, what changes are occurring, and other information that can make their daily life more easy when they live in your apartment complex. Keeping your customers happy is referral and return business. And, again, in property management, you take care of the property and you take care of the customer, and you'll see the returns that come. When companies are not able to put enough effort into their tenants and their customers, I think that's when they start to falter and they start to see a loss of returns.
Indeed. And I think people that are in various apartment complexes and buildings around the city or anywhere, they get a pretty good feel when if you're a renter at a specific place, you get a pretty good feel. It can be something very little that goes wrong, but you're going to get a feel pretty soon of how the attitude of the building is and how quick they respond. That's going to kind of set the scene for however long you live or decide to leave. So yeah, keeping the customer happy, once again, that's a guiding principle for all businesses, right?
It is. In today's world, we kind of can live and die by the internet. Back in the old days, if people were frustrated, their voices didn't carry as far. But today, with companies like apartmentreviews.com and other places where reviews can be left, how you treat your customers can be easily vented to the rest of the world. So it's even more important that you are carrying and providing to your customers, taking care of their concerns and the property that they live in, because negative news travels much quicker than positive news.
And quite frankly, when we think about the mindset of somebody renting, when you're renting, one of the reasons you might be renting is that you don't want to deal with the problems that homeownership brings. Like when there's something wrong at the house, you don't want to have to call that. The homeowner is going to call the roofer, but when you're in an apartment complex, you want other people to do that work, and that's part of the luxury in my mind of renting versus owning.
Correct. There's a lot of options out there for tenants, and if you're not on top of the game and you're not involved in not only taking care of the property but taking care of the customer, going above and beyond, a lot of times we'll provide community events, days in the park, meals, thank you, appreciation, lunches, or barbecues. If you're not making your customer feel special and welcome, somebody else can offer that, and then you may lose them.
In fact, one of the things I'm thinking, there's a parallel here in terms of our city has, from a competitive standpoint, there are so many things of everything, and specifically the restaurant world, there's so much competition that keeps our restaurants, as consumers, we have some of the best restaurants because they're all competing, and we are the beneficiaries of that in a city that has so much of everything. I would think it's the same thing in your world.
To a degree it is, yes. One of the benefits of being in this business is we get customers and we get to hear from them and how their experiences are with other apartment complexes. And so kind of like dining, those customers will carry that input. And if it's up to us to interpret what they're looking for or asking for when they come to us with that information and be able to adapt to what that customer is looking for and use those clues that they're giving us.
We're talking with Andrew Estes. He is the CEO of the Estes Companies. In fact, his website is estescompanies.com. It's spelled ESTES companies.com. Andrew, your world and your business world has several components. One of them is the construction group, as I'm looking on your website. Give us a word about what you're doing from a construction standpoint.
Well, we do all of our construction in-house. One of the things that's very difficult in today's world with how busy our construction crews are is finding adequate trades that will get on the job, do the job properly and quickly and on your schedule. And so what we've found over the years is instead of fighting with the many other builders who are looking to bring these trades into the apartments to do the construction, we've built a team of about 30 on-site, hands-on skilled trades, and we do all of the work ourselves. So our crew will do the demolition, we'll do the framing repairs, we'll do the sheetrock, we'll do the electrical, we'll do the mechanical, we'll trim it, doors, tile, granite countertops, install our appliances. And this allows us to put a team of 15 to 20 people in a building at a time, and in 5 weeks convert it on our schedule, not having to wait for trades to finish another job or whatever other reason they may not have to show up on our job, delaying the work that we need to get done. This has been a big component of us being able to grow quickly and provide returns where we're able to get buildings completed and online and leased much quicker than we would have been able to do if we weren't doing this ourselves, waiting on trades.
And Andrew, before we close the segment, what else would you like people to know about your company?
Well, I'd like people to keep an eye on us. We're looking to grow. We've recapitalized. We currently have 380 units under 4 properties. We have a new property under contract that's another 100 units, and we're looking to grow our portfolio by at least 500 units this year and 1,000 units the year after, and we hope to double for two more years after that. So as we grow, we'd like Houston to know that we're out there, and if they're looking for a safe investment in the multifamily community, to let us show you how we're able to help you guys create some income for yourselves.
And give us a quick word. What you're doing has so many components in terms of leadership, moving parts, construction, managing, all those things. Andrew, how have you, as far as success goes, how do you keep things organized? Because you got a lot of moving parts that you're watching, plus you want to grow. So you have things there as well that are going to be taking place.
It's a lot of organization and hard work is what it comes down to. I've been self-employed my whole life, and I've always worked to grow all the companies that we are a part of. And when it comes down to it, hard work, time management, having good people that work with you where you can, ask them and provide them the work that they need to get done, and that they're going to get it done as asked and return it to you. And so it's not always easy getting all those balls in the air at the same time and keeping them going. But if you put the hard work in and you have the right people and you're willing to put the time in, it can be done and done well.
There you go. Andrew Estes. Andrew, how can people reach you?
You can find us online at theestescompanies.com. You can leave an email for us there if anybody's interested in having their property managed or looking to invest into multifamily. Just give us email and we'll get back to them.
And if they want to give you a call?
Our office number is 281-242-0455. 281-242-0455.
Thank you so much for being on the show, Andrew Estes, the CEO of the Estes Companies. Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you.
If you're a real estate professional, then listen closely. Cyber criminals are targeting our industry. They are impersonating real estate professionals, homebuyers, sellers, and title agents. Their goal is to gain access to your inboxes, computers, and clients so they can steal information and funds. Does your business insurance offset these risks? Not sure? Contact Stewart Insurance to determine if your business is properly insured. Visit stewartinsurance.com or call 866-798-2827. Visit stewartinsurance.com or call 866-798-2827.
Real Estate Matters would not be possible without our partner, Stewart Insurance. With a focus in real estate and a special focus on real estate brokers, Stewart Insurance creates insurance plans to address the risks facing our industry today. They invest a significant amount of time helping real estate broker owners offset and manage their risks. Here he is, John Bramlett with Stewart Insurance. John, welcome.
Thank you, Bill. Always a pleasure to be with you.
Super awesome. So let's tell people, when we spin the wheel, the subject comes up, insurance, all the time, because that's all that's on our wheel, right?
That's exactly right, 24/7.
There you go. And people love to be reminded about insurance, and I think they learn more each and every time they listen.
Well, I sure hope so. It's always been our pleasure to be a part of Real Estate Matters and to be with you each week and share a little bit of knowledge with our audience.
In fact, one of the things I think many people, not all, but a lot of people look at insurance through the viewpoint of once they get it, car insurance, home insurance, it's done. They don't think about how they're covered, if they're properly insured. And then the next time they think about it is when the renewal comes through and they're like, oh, here it is again, let me just pay it. So that's one of the things we like to expand the thinking in this little segment.
Well, absolutely. It's your insurance is like, life, everything changes. And as your life changes, and we need to take a look at your plans to ensure that they are, they're meeting your business needs. And there are times when you may need less insurance, and there are times you may need more insurance. And there's times when you want to accept more of the risk, and there can be times when you would like the insurance company to accept the risk. And that's just, part of the conversations that we have with our clients on a daily basis.
And that was the word that you said before me, and we say it on the preamble every show, and that is risk. So we think about risk every day in the various categories of our life, and that's what insurance is for. Not just our personal life, but also you've been helping years and years realtors offset and manage risks as far as cybersecurity and business E&O, all those general liability, all those categories.
Absolutely. And today I'd like to talk a little bit about a different type of risk that we haven't spent much time talking about, and that's a employment practice liability insurance. And what you'll sometimes see that or hear it referenced as ELPI or ELP. and employment practice liability insurance provides a protection for an employer against a claim that could be made by an employee, an former employee, or a potential employee. It covers discrimination like age or sex or disability discrimination, wrongful termination of employment, sexual harassment, and other employment-related allegations. So, if a client or if an employer feels that they've been wronged and they sue an employer, then there's that coverage is there to help. We all know that our business owners strive to be fair and non-discriminatory in all their treatment of employees, but there's going to be misunderstandings, there's going to be miscommunications, and when those occur, it's nice to have the EPLI coverage as a backdrop, because it's relevant for all businesses that have employees, but it's especially relevant for those businesses that have employees that work with the public or outside at other businesses or other locations. So, for example, working with home buyers and home sellers, property owners, at their locations, at their homes, at their offices. It's equally important, or it's doubly important to have if you have employees that are working with the public and that they're at other businesses or other locations. And it provides some protection, for your business from any potentially meritless claims if you have a disgruntled employee. Because as I said, issues are going to arise as much as we try to be fair and non-discriminatory. There's going to be situations where somebody feels like that they've been mishandled or misunderstood or mistreated, and it's just nice to have that coverage.
And that's right, because now not all real estate, but taking the category of residential real estate, in that world, yes, we're dealing with the public all the time, but in the residential world, there's more emotion than, say, in the commercial. So sometimes when we have an emotional environment in anything, there is some of the breeding grounds of miscommunication, feelings, I thought, you thought, and these things like that. And the other thing, I just to remind people, as you said at the very beginning, it's not just the employees that we have. It could be the one that we had 2 months ago.
It could be, or somebody that we were hiring or interviewing and decided not to hire, or we're in the process of interviewing and they feel like that they've been mistreated, or they felt like that they might have been discriminated in the hiring process or in the interviewing process. It's nice to be able to have that backstop of defense coverage from the ELPI coverage.
It actually does seem like a very valuable sort of protection to have, and people can always reach out to you at Stewart, you and the team that is at Stewart Insurance.
Absolutely, we're here to help all of our real estate professionals with their business and their personal insurance, and they can reach us at 866-798-2827. That's 866-798-2827. They can email us at stewartinsurance@stewart.com. That's stewartinsurance@stewart.com, or visit us at www.stewartinsurance.com.
So, as far as some of the other policies that are very popular and for the business owner to think about in terms of protection, what's another one that would be a good one to remind people
about?
Well,
there's beyond the ELPI, there is a general liability which helps protect for any injuries that may occur from clients or customers either on your property, or if you're, for example, hosting an open house, or any potential damage that may occur. You can combine a general liabilities policy with commercial property. So if you're let's say you're renting your office, but all the property in the office, the materials, the equipment, the furniture is all yours, you can get a commercial property coverage and combine that with a general liability and have a business owner's policy. There's cyber liability that protects you if, in this world we're carrying so much private information for people that if that is stolen through a cyber attack, then you've got some defense coverages there. Professional liability or an errors and emissions policy helps in the case of if a client or prospective client feels like that you've not met the professional responsibilities you have as a realtor or a property manager. There's that coverage is available. There's business auto insurance that we can help with, as well as workers' compensation.
One of the things I'm thinking about in the past, I don't know, several months on this show, we've had a lot of new home builders on the show. In fact, last week we had one, and it seems like every 3 weeks or so we've had someone. And I'm thinking about, if I'm a new home builder and you talked about the general liability policy, someone could slip and fall. Someone could trip. And the other thing that happens in the new home parks, some of them, is that you may be visiting a model home, but yet the home next door is still under construction. So you have boards and workers going back and forth to the truck. And sometimes perhaps there are extra potential problems there. So it seemed to me, if I'm a new home builder, I might be giving you a call. That's all I'm trying to say, John.
Well, it really comes down to thinking about what are the potential risks that your business might have. And it's as simple as that. And then once you've determined what those potential risks are, it's how concerned are you that something might happen. And then if something were to happen, what would be the outcome? And, based upon, those thoughts and those decisions, then that can, help determine if you would like to have, if there's some insurance that's available to offset some of that risk to an insurance company. And if so, then having that conversation with your insurance provider to determine what's the best opportunity going forward.
And before we close this segment, John, is there anything else you'd like people to know?
Just that we'd be happy to help with your business or home insurance, your auto insurance, your renters. We're here to help. We live and breathe real estate insurance. You can find us at stewartinsurance.com. You can email us at stewartinsurance@stewart.com, or you can call us at 866-798-2827.
One more time, the number is
866-798-2827.
Thank you so much, John Bramlett with Stewart Insurance, and thank you all for listening to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. We really appreciate that. If you want to hear anything on this show again, just simply go to stewart.com/Houston, or you want to hear a past show, that is great, stewart.com/Houston, or if we can serve you, helping you close your real estate transaction, just call us. Reach out to stewart.com, find the office closest to you. And by the way, we want to remind people, John, once again, as far as the insurance, you are helping people all over the United States. So if they hear this far beyond, let's say in Idaho, they can give you a call. Thank you so much once again, stewart.com/Houston. And thank you, John.
Always a pleasure, Bill. Thank you, sir.
In today's litigious society, it is imperative to have the proper insurance to offset the many risks facing your business, especially if you're a real estate broker. Your errors and omissions and cyber liability insurance can help limit the threat of these risks if you know what to look for. Not sure if your insurance addresses the risks facing your business? Contact Stewart Insurance to be confident your brokerage can withstand these risks. Stewart Insurance, 866-798-2827. StewartInsurance.com. That's StewartInsurance.com, or call 866-798-2827.